Having trouble changing chords on guitar? Does your strumming have to stop and wait while you move your hands? The answer isn't to just keep doing it more, because the problem is you're trying to do two hard things at the same time, and if either one's weak, the whole thing falls apart. I've been teaching guitar for over 20 years, and in this video, I'm going to show you the two exercises that I've shown hundreds of students to develop these skills one at a time and put them back together for smoother, faster chord changes. And if you have one chord that just keeps giving you trouble no matter what, I'll show you a trick for that at the end too. Okay, so why is it so hard to change chords while we strum? Well, you're juggling a couple of things. Your left hand has to be comfortable with the chords and moving between them. Your right hand has to be able to be stable and consistent with its own strumming. And then you also have to be able to mentally do the coordination between these two hands. Eventually, you can kind of go on autopilot, but until those are very comfortable, you need to have some way to bring them together purposefully. And that's what these exercises do. So we're going to start by developing left-hand finger independence for our chords by finger picking with our right hand. That might sound weird, but here's why. When you strum through chord changes, you have to move the entire left hand at the same time. But when you finger pick, you can move one finger at a time and really focus on each one learning its job. Then we can put it back together with strumming later. Let me show you an example, and then we'll break down exactly what you should focus on. If you look closely, you can tell that I'm putting my D chord down one finger at a time. That really lets each one get a chance to learn what it's supposed to do, and it gives you a chance to really control it. Now, if you're not really comfortable with finger picking, don't worry about it. That's not what the exercise is about. We're using finger picking as a tool to work on the left hand. That's what really matters. But if you are interested in developing your picking technique, I've done a video on it right here, and I have a free guide down in the description that you can download with everything that you need to know about the basics of finger picking technique. When I go through this change to the D chord, I can actually break this pattern down a little bit further to just focus on one finger at a time. So I'm actually now just going to play through my G chord and the first note of D. It's an open string, which is nice because it means that my left hand doesn't actually have any work to do. I'm going to use that to my advantage. One, I'm going to make sure that my thumb on my right hand is moving in time, that I'm not causing a gap. I'm already working on coordinating, not stopping between chords. This is what will help you develop that rhythm if you've been having trouble. But also because it's an open string, I can start prepping the next finger. So when I play this and I play the open D string, my pointer finger is going to hover over the G string where it's about to play. Even though it's not down yet, I'm getting myself ready. I actually did another video where I talked all about changing chords and the importance of prepping each finger before it plays. I'm linking that on screen and again down in the description. You can watch that after this one if it would help you further. But then I'm going to play my pattern two notes into the D chord. So the full thing of G and the first two notes of D. You get the idea. I'm now putting that first finger down of D, and at the same time I can start prepping my next finger, the ring finger. What's great here is if you're ready to go faster, you can just do more. You can play all 8 notes, 4 from G, 4 from D, or you can break it down into playing 5 or 6 or 7, however many you need to focus on this hand movement. This should pretty quickly show you which fingers are having an easier time and which ones are having a harder time. And you can put pressure on different fingers by changing your right hand finger picking pattern and going in a different order. See, for this one, I'm going to have to put my middle finger down first when we get to the D chord. Watch. But I still get to focus on going one note at a time. This exercise especially makes it easier if you've got two difficult chords to switch between. So like for most people, it's way harder to go between C and D than it is like G and E minor. But again, I can do this same exercise next with my C chord to my D chord. And it's a lot easier than if I try to do that while strumming. Plus, did you notice there's one other thing that's different from where you're strumming? Take a look again at the exact C chord that I used. You'll notice that I don't have a finger on my D string. That's on purpose. I'm not finger picking that string at all, so there's no reason to put the finger on. You're allowed to and it won't hurt anything, but you can actually have your hand do less work. My C chord is now only 2 fingers. and that's a lot easier to execute. Another chord where that happens is E minor. If I strum an E minor, I use 2 fingers on the D and A strings. But if I'm finger picking, showing you the pattern that I used before, my fingers aren't actually touching that at all. That means my left hand is totally free to do whatever it wants because I only need the open strings. That's how you get things like because you have free fingers, or classical pieces like You'll notice that in both of the examples that we did so far, we went to a D chord. And I told you already that one of the things that makes that easier is that you're starting with an open string. It buys you a little bit of time in the chord change. The next step is to go to a chord that starts on a finger. So let's just flip around the last one and go D to C. That's a little bit more pressure because now my ring finger needs to be down on that very first beat. So again, out of this 8-note pattern, I'm going to play 5 notes, all of the D chord and the first one of the C chord. And that's just to help me practice moving there in time. When that's comfortable, I can start adding in another note, 2 more notes, however many are comfortable. And I'm still focusing on my fingers one at a time. So now we've developed the left hand a little bit, which should feel a lot more confident in its movement, but we need to bring the strumming back. And so the second exercise works on tying the left hand back with the rhythm, and it focuses on the exact moment that it tends to fall apart. To prove something with this exercise, I'm going to play the same thing twice, except for I'm going to change one tiny detail. Listen to these, see if you can tell the difference, and if you can, tell me in the comments. That's the first way. Here's the second. Could you tell the difference? If you couldn't, listen really carefully to the first one again. Did you hear that my last upstroke over my G chord, I actually played an open string and I let my hand move? I'm going to show you how to use that exercise, and don't worry if you've seen this before in my other chord changing video, I'm going to show you a new application for it too. The trick here is that when we move between chords while strumming, we tend to cheat the change a little bit by letting go of the chord slightly early. Your ear barely hears it, if at all. In fact, I dare you to go and listen to the very beginning of the Green Day song, American Idiot. And if you listen really, really closely, you'll hear this stick out like a sore thumb. But you've probably never noticed it before if you weren't listening for it on purpose. And we don't tend to hear about this trick a lot because most guitarists who are comfortable with chord changes kind of do this without really thinking about it. But when you focus on it on purpose, it can really help level up your chord changes. To do this exercise, we're going to start with 2 really simple chords. I'm going to use G and E minor, but you can use whatever you want. And I want you first to just play a downstroke on each. You can take as long as you need in between chords, that doesn't matter. Now what we're going to do is in between those 2, we're going to add an upstroke where we let the hand go. So it's going to be down on G, up on open strings, and then down on E minor. But we're not just going to hit the open strings, we're going to use that time to hover our fingers in place over the next E minor chord. Look closely at my fingers. I play my down on G. When I do this up on the open strings, look at my fingers. You should be able to see that they're about to go to an E minor chord before I ever do it. Then I play my downstroke. If that's still too tricky, you can break it up into even smaller parts and just do the down up. That's it. And then do the next part, the up down. And then when you put those back together, you can do the whole thing. Now by itself, the reason this exercise matters is because you're working on that coordination between the left and the right hand. Your left hand does something, your right hand does something, and you're now telling your brain to focus on how to balance those 2 movements when they're doing them together. But we're also building out the middle of a strumming pattern. If I were to do something common like, let's say, down, 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 up on each chord. What we just played is the last down, up of the first pattern with the G chord, and the downbeat, the very beginning of the E minor chord. So we're practicing that part in the middle where the 2 overlap because that's where you are likely to actually lose your pattern. There's one really important thing that you should keep in mind while you do this exercise, because it's going to make it easier as you incorporate harder chords. You should start with an easy chord change. I showed you G and E minor because I think that's pretty easy. However, if you have different chords that you prefer, go for it. What you're trying to do is teach your hand this process. Once you learn that, once you understand the exercise, it's a lot easier to incorporate other chords, harder chords. So you don't need to worry, am I going to need to do all these steps for every chord I ever learn? Not really. Eventually, your hand kind of just gets used to it. But what's so important is when you start off with something easy, your hand learns what success feels like, and you can chase that later on. But as you add more and more chords to your vocabulary, there's usually going to be one that sticks out as just being harder than all the others. And you can use this exercise to practice that too. Just instead of going between two different chords, keep going back and forth between the same chord. Let's say that you've just learned your big F bar chord. You can just keep going new chord, off with the upstroke, and then back on with that new chord again. Because the hard part of playing that chord is usually getting to it. By the way, can you tell me down in the comments, what's the hardest chord for you right now? Or what chord change are you working on? Or what song are you working towards? I'll respond to every single comment and try to tell you something helpful that I would tell you if we were sitting in a lesson together. If you're finding these exercises helpful, by the way, would you also consider liking the video, subscribing if you want to see more like this, sharing it with someone else? I know that everyone asks for that on YouTube, but that's really what tells them this content is worth continuing to share. If you got value out of it, I'd really appreciate it. If you practice these exercises, you'll be surprised how fast and confident your hands get for these changes. But if you want to put them into songs, you're going to need some strumming patterns, or even better, you're going to need to learn how to make your own patterns. I've got a video all about that right here. Or if you wanted to deep dive further into your left hand technique, check this one out, and I'll see you there.